machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
It is Western Conference 4A boys basketball on a Friday night at Glacier Peak High School. Hello, everybody. Tom Lafferty along with Jeff Larson working the game tonight as we're getting set for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, set to host the Kamiak Knights. Again, Tom Lafferty with Jeff Larson, who the principal here at Glacier Peak High School, but more importantly tonight, the former head coach at Redmond High School, right?
Thanks, Tom, for reminding me of those days.
It's a long time ago, right?
Long time ago, but to be honest with you, I still think about it almost every day.
Talk about, well, this is kind of a place to start. Talk about how the game has changed. We kind of talked about before we went on the air, the way, and I've always kind of joked with a lot of coaches, you know, you really don't need that big 6'10 guy. And Nayland Suda of Mount Lake Terrace says, I'll take the 6'10 guy all the time. But everybody's out there shooting the three. The three has changed the game of basketball.
No doubt about it. It's totally changed it. And, you know, old timers like Brian Hunter and myself just have to accept that. And Brian's kept me informed. And he said, I've been out of it for 7 years now, and he said it has changed. He said kids have changed, and that's not for better, not for worse. He said it's just different. It's more up and down. It's more spread out. And you better let kids shoot the three or you're going to have issues.
Well, and that's true, right? And we talked, in fact, we talked with last night on our prep sports show with Joe Marsh, the head coach of the number 2 ranked Arlington Eagles girls team, and he said, no conscience, no memory, shoot or shoot.
You have to, and the truth is, back in the old days, it seemed like, you know, downtown shot, and Coach Adams used to call them Buick shots. But,
right.
But they're makeable. High school kids now are making 30 and 40% from the three-point line, and there's good shooters. These kids can shoot the ball, so you got to let them shoot it.
Let's talk about your Glacier Peak Grizzlies. I'm guessing it all starts at the top from the principal's office on how good Glacier Peak is. Number 2 ranked in the state of Washington, undefeated.
I'm really, really proud of both the boys and girls programs, and particularly the boys tonight. They've been very successful, but as good as they've been on the floor, I have to be honest with you, I've enjoyed these students as people. They're great kids. They're engaged. They root for each other. They play hard. They do it the right way. Our student body supports them, and they're really just fun to be around.
We're getting the starting lineups introduced as we speak. We'll do that right now for Glacier Peak. It'll be number 2, Caleb Lee. Tristan Bates will be another starter, along with 21, Pierce Darlington, 23, Braden Corwin, and 24, Colton St. Jean. So Caleb Lee, Tristan Bates, Pierce Darlington, Braden Corwin, Colton St. Jean for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. For the Kamiak Knights, dressed in the black tonight, they'll start Brendan Byer wearing number 3, Tijan Sane wearing number 2, wearing number 4. I feel like we're watching the Yankees from the 20s. Wearing number 4, Charlie Powers wearing number 4. He must be the second baseman. And here comes the third baseman, Jay Honme, and wearing 10, I guess he's a designated hitter, right? Nolan Martin. All right in a row. Sane, Byer, Powers, Honme, and Martin. Let's talk about the Glacier Peak Grizzlies on Monday night. They had the makeup game with the Mariner Marauders. Yeah. That was an intense high school basketball game.
Boy, that was playoff-like. That's getting ready for postseason. I was really impressed with Mariner. I thought they came out very disciplined. I'm looking forward to, I think it might be the last game of the year, but those are 2 fun teams to watch.
And Mariner just could not really make the adjustment, and from 14, 15, 16 down, Glacier Peak was able to just fight back and stay in it.
They were, and we were talking earlier about the three-point shot, and that kind of turned the game. We hit 2 of them right in a row that got it down to single digits, and then that just gave Glacier Peak that momentum.
We will come back after tonight's opening tip-off and game action. Glacier Peak and Kamiak right here on STSPN.com.
Do-It Center is located in beautiful Snohomish, Washington. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, they are proud to provide the Snohomish Valley with exceptional hardware, tools, lawn and garden, and sporting goods products. Their commitment to delivering legendary customer service and their outstanding employees continue to make McDaniel's the best and one of the most recognized do-it-best centers in the nation. Stop by and experience for yourself the difference between McDaniel's and the big box stores. Discover why so many people are choosing to shop at McDaniel's.
We are all frustrated with the high cost of heating and cooling our homes. At GNS, we are completely changing the way you keep your home comfortable. Because we are Snohomish County's premier Lennox dealer, we can design a perfect system for you, one that will save you a lot of money on your utility bill. The Lennox Home Comfort System creates the ideal home environment. Enjoy innovation in every season with precise, quietly efficient Lennox heat pumps that keep your life simply perfect. Call GNS Heating, Cooling, and Electric today or visit us at gsheating.com.
And we welcome you back to Glacier Peak High School, the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, and the Kamiak Knights. Tom Lafferty along with Jeff Larson, Darren DeVito on stats. Jackson and Jaden Larson are helping out. We've got Todd Elvig, Sarah Elvig on STSPN.com, and we are set to go. The referee, John McGinnis, the umpire, Darren Lingle, and the umpire number 2 is Steve Allison. It's John McGinnis with the basketball at the top of the Grizzlies logo, and we are ready to go here at Glacier Peak. They'll jump it up here momentarily. The whistle sounds, and here we go. Wesco 4A boys basketball underway, and it'll be the Kamiak Knights in the black uniforms with dark purple numbers and a little bit of white trim, so it's one of those nights where it's hard to see what the numbers are, but they're all in a row on the stat sheet as Glacier Peak and Kamiak, and it'll be Kamiak with the first 3 ball on the way. That will be a miss, no good, missed by Brendan Byer. But grabbing the offensive rebound are the Knights, and they will reset the offense. 25 to shoot, down to the baseline. Turnaround, it's up and in. First bucket is Jay Ohonme, and he will get the bucket as they just worked it around and got the offensive rebound.
Well, and again, it goes back to we were talking about those three-point shots, and with three-point misses are long rebounds, and that's how they capitalize there. They'll
try to return the favor. They can't do it. Braden Corwin with a miss, and they will get an offensive rebound. And here we go, Glacier Peak with it. Caleb Lee. Noticing Tucker Molina not in the starting lineup here this evening on senior night. Long cross-court pass over the left side. That is Bates with it. Goes in, back outside. Corwin, second try at a 3. That one won't go either. Missed them both. Another offensive rebound by Lee. Now to Corwin in the corner. Just underway, a 2-0 lead here for the Kamiak Knights. Couple of 3 misses. And here's Lee. Spin move up off the window, too hard, no good. Tries to get his own rebound, can't, but it's back up and no good. Grabbed by Colton St. Jean, and it will be free throws coming up here. Tell you, they're sticking with it, trying to get those offensive rebounds.
You know, when you shoot that 3 and you're spread out like that, it's hard to box out and to keep your man off the glass, and it does give the offense a little bit of an edge getting those offensive rebounds.
Yeah, just seniors in the starting lineup for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. St. Jean at the free throw line. First one too hard. Can't get the first 2 points or first point of the ball game for the Grizzlies. And another one coming up here. And it is going to be good. So the first point of the game, a 2-1 lead. 6:26 to go, opening quarter. Dijon Sane at the right wing. Ohonme, left side to Powers. Powers, NBA three on the way, and bang, down it goes. Just exactly what we talked about. Take the three.
Yeah, and Glacier Peak better watch him. I believe he's a returning all-league player, and he can shoot the ball.
It's a 5-1 lead, a 4-point lead for the Kamiak Knights. It's Wesco 4A boys basketball game. Full slate of action tonight around the Western Conference. That's Corwin with it. Little burst of energy. That's a nice move right there for Corwin.
Yeah, and he's such a strong kid. He's a tough matchup. He's just so physically strong.
So he gets the bucket, and it's a 5-3 ball game. Now Sane will have it top of the key. To Martin. Now Charlie Powers. Little up fake there, but a pull-up jumper from 14. Rattles, and it drops through. That's Brendan Byer with the bucket. Back to a 4-point lead. Very patient, the Kamiak Knights.
And they're moving well without the ball.
Glacier Peak, the home team in the white uniform, silver numbers, dark blue trim, and here's a steal. Corwin has it stripped. His pocket is picked, and it's going to be picked up and grabbed by Powers, who'll bring it out of backcourt. Corwin picks him up on the defense. As they swing a pass over the left-hand side, somebody's open. But they back over to Sane. 19 to shoot. Sane, boy, he did everything but pull the trigger on that one.
I thought he might.
Back to Sane again, and he gets bumped. He'll come up, and it'll be Colton St. Jean will pick up the foul, bumped him. I don't know how you call a balk. If that's baseball, it's a balk. Take your base. You went everywhere but let go of the ball.
He did everything right, too. He had the rhythm. I thought he was going to elevate and let it go.
Gave him the shaky leg, and then it didn't go. But they get it back off the foul. Going in. And now on the floor is Sane. He's going to get a couple of shots coming up. That foul, as we mentioned, was on St. Jean, his first personal foul, first team foul. And this one's going to be on St. Jean as well. He just picked up his second personal foul, and Brian Hunter says, yep, let's get Mr. Quantrill off the bench. He's a senior too, but he's always starting.
Yeah, and Quantrill he's a special player. He doesn't get rattled. He gets the ball wherever it's inside or outside. He's just very poised, very crafty, and he's a tough matchup.
First free throw is good. Second one is not. The lead is 5, biggest lead of the game so far for Kamiak. That's Braden Quantrill with the basketball. Looking down low. They'll swing it around the perimeter, right side lead to the baseline. Step through move.
It's a really nice move.
I thought maybe there was one extra little hip hop through there, but they say no, and he gets the bucket, and it's a 3-point lead. Ahonme, as they work around the perimeter. Kamiak Knights coming in at 6-4 in league play, 8-8 overall. The top 6 make the district tournament, so they're firmly there, and we're going to have an offensive foul here, and that will be on Jay Ahonme.
That's really become Glacier Peak's identity. Monday night against Mariner as a team, they took 7 offensive charges, and they're really taking pride in doing that.
Well, and that was one of the things. I don't think Mariner they didn't adjust. If the official is going to call it that way, and I thought they called it evenly
Agreed.
on both ends,
Agreed.
You just got to change.
You do. You have to come under control. They're going to keep calling it.
So Glacier Peak with it. A 3-ball will tie it. That's Quantrill. He's not afraid to shoot from right about where he was. Give it to Corwin.
I'd let him shoot from where he was.
Lee, back to Corwin again. 17 to shoot. Quantrill back to the basket, way out high. Now Bates with a little one-on-one move, back out, open. Will it be a 3 that'll tie it? No, he's 0 for 3 from the field. And it's going to be a fight for the rebound. It's grabbed by Jay Ahonme, and it is back to Kamiak basketball. 8-5 lead. Dribble drive, closed off at the baseline, back out. As they work it to Powers. Powers blocked by Corwin and out of bounds.
What a great defensive play. That's so hard to do without picking up a foul. And Powers is a really good player. That was impressive by Corwin.
Tucker Molina will come in. He's the leading scorer for Glacier Peak. It checks into the ball game now. And Molina comes in, and he is a junior at 6'5". Little runner by Powers, won't go. Rebound, Quantrill, here he comes. Shadowed from behind, goes into traffic. Lee at the right baseline, off the glass, no, foul call.
I've really been impressed with Lee. He's plays with a lot of confidence and courage, and right there just gave up his body and made a play.
Nolan Martin picks up the foul, his first personal foul, third team foul. I don't know if they give an second personal. If GP gives out an unsung, he would be an unsung hero kind of a guy.
Yeah, and I was talking to Brian this afternoon way before the game, and he made it a point to talk about Caleb, and just said he's a difference maker. And he's a success story. His freshman and sophomore year, he was actually on the C team, and he hung with it, stuck with it, and now he's a big-time contributor on a really good team.
Hit the first, missed the second, makes it a 2-point ball game. 8-6 the lead for Kamiak. Measure, fire, three, rattles off, no good. Missed by Brendan Byer. The ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Knights. So it'll be Glacier Peak basketball.
Brian's not going to be happy with that. They left him open. I think GP was fortunate he didn't knock that down.
Molina will call the play as he comes across with a right-handed dribble. 2:25 to play. Opening quarter, a 2-point lead for Kamiak. Kind of a slow game starting here. Lee will try to pick up the pace. He'll put it up too hard off the window, no good. Rebound, Byer brings it out of backcourt himself. Goes to the baseline, spin move there, back out. Sane was going to go up, but right out on him defensively was Lee. That's Sane again. Kamiak looking for the open player, and there he is. Powers, three ball, good.
Yeah.
They just worked, they found the guy.
Yep. He has a really nice looking shot.
Back to a 5-point lead, equaling the biggest lead of the game for Kamiak. Molina, he can take over a ball game too. Lee is open, he's wide open, that three won't go. Quantrill rebound. Back up to Lee. Now Molina says, yeah, I'll just shoot from here. Won't go. Do they have a three? I don't think they do. I think they missed all of them that they put up.
Missed them all, and there's not a lot of good movement right now. That'll pick up. You'll see that change here in the second quarter. I'm sure they'll be talking about it.
Outside three won't go for Kamiak's Jay Ohonme, and it's going to be picked up by Molina. Step through move by Molina, rattles and goes. Player on Tijan Sane went to the floor. No call there. We're inside a minute now to play in the opening quarter.
Classy move by Molina, helping him up there.
That's Byer. They swing it around right side now. Sane backing in. Good defense there by Corwin. 16 to shoot, 40 on the first quarter clock. Powers, he goes into traffic. Got fouled on the way in, and he'll get two shots coming up. Charlie Powers, 6'1" guard. He's a senior. For Brandon Corsi, head coach of his second year at Kamiak. And Brian Hunter, head coach of the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, only coach Glacier Peak's ever had for boys basketball. For that matter, girls basketball the same. They've all been here. You don't fire anybody.
Well, as long as they keep winning.
Next free throw is good. It's 13-8, 5-point lead. Just about dead even shot clock, game clock. Molina will bring it up, calling the play. Everybody kind of standing around waiting to play for one last shot. That's Lee. And the defender, Byer, gets instruction. Back away. Back away a little bit. Down to 14, down to 13. Lee says, yeah, let's start things going. He does. To Quantrill, down to 6, down to 5. To Molina. Somebody's got to shoot with 1 second on the clock. They're going to run out of time, and that will be that in the end of the first quarter. And it's a 13-8 lead for the Kamiak Knights. And they lead the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. We'll return live to Glacier Peak High School right after this timeout. And none for
for the world.
Yeah.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow-through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
Checking in to start the second quarter.
Here we go, second quarter here at Glacier Peak High School.
Bobby Sievers.
Coach Larson, Glacier Peak 0 for 3, 0 for everything for the three-point ball.
That's okay, though, and I would tell them don't worry about it and keep shooting it. This team is good shooters, and the next one will go in. If it doesn't, the next one will.
How about this one? There you go. Boy, the genius switch right there, right?
It's a lot easier to coach from up here.
Yeah. You haven't missed a play the whole game. That's right. So it's a 2-point ball game, 13-11. As Kamiak on the attack now, and the black uniforms moving to our left. That's Tijan Sane. A couple of stutter step moves, and the defenders are just watching him as they swing it around. Down to 8 to shoot, and they will, and it'll be a little runner up and good. Jae Ohonme with the bucket makes it a 4-point lead again. He's pretty smooth.
Yeah, and Kamiak came here to play. There was, if anybody thought that they didn't feel like they could come and compete, they're wrong. They came here to play.
Siebers with the bucket there. Bobby Siebers checked into the ball game during the quarter break. Makes it again a 2-point ball game.
Siebers has been a huge addition to the team this year.
That's Glenn Wabaluku. Now left corner Powers. He puts it in. Charlie Powers with a bucket at the baseline. He's having a pretty good ball game so far here.
Yeah, I think that might be 10 points already.
17-13 the score. Siebers 3.
He's a game changer. His defense, he'll take charges and he can knock that down. He changes the game in a hurry.
And he's a sophomore. Unless he comes out early,
That's
you've
the
got
best
him for
part
2.
of it.
Yeah, you've got him for 2 more years.
No, we're keeping him.
No trades?
No trades.
Okay. Well, I figure you must be the general manager. So, wow, Powers. Does that put him at 13?
That's, I believe. What do you think, DeVito? Is that 13 points?
13 for Charlie Powers, and a timeout called by Brian Hunter. The lead is 4 points. 5:53 to go in the first half. Back with more in 30 seconds.
Since 2003, Gamut 360 Holdings has been recognized as a premier local builder of new homes and commercial properties in the Puget Sound area. Our 360-degree construction approach matches first-class materials with the highest construction standards to create truly unique and timeless communities for our Northwest neighborhoods. Visit Gamut360.com and discover the home that matters most to you.
Kamiak has some players.
We're back here. Kamiak has the players, and we like the way Powers shoots. You know, it's what I said, the Klay Thompson kind of shot.
Yeah, tough to defend, and you know, it's things that I don't know that you can teach. They're just a natural rhythm, and it just looks good.
Well, and it's a minimum of motion.
Yep.
He's not sticking his arm out,
That's
sticking
right.
his leg out. Doesn't get fouled a lot either, I'm guessing, because he's not out there putting something in the way. But here's Siebers. Caleb Lee, trying to combine their names. Caleb Lee with the bucket. It's a 2-point ball game again. Kamiak, they're here to play tonight.
Yeah, this is so far a really, really quality game. There's another one.
That's a 3-ball up and good. Ben Ferrara with the bucket. Well, I think just about everybody on the floor scored for Kamiak.
Well, it's ironic. We started this off talking about how the game has changed with the threes, and here's an example.
And we also talked about the fact that Kamiak scored Glacier Peak scored 8 points in that first quarter. I'm guessing that's a low output of the whole year in any quarter.
Yeah, they've already scored 10 in this, so I think you're about right.
Molina, Quantrill, the bucket, good.
That's what he does so well.
Yeah, he just says, let's go, boys, I'm going in.
Yep.
Lead, follow, or get out of the way, but I'm going in. And unafraid.
Absolutely
of
unafraid.
Contact.
Such a tough matchup because he's just stronger than most people his size.
Way outside three ball that will not go for Sane. And Quantrill grabs the rebound. Here comes Glacier Peak. Quantrill loses the defender, finds Molina in the corner. And they go cross court. Now to Corwin on top. Kind of fake like he was going, but the defender stood his ground. Sane on him. That's Corwin with the basketball. He goes into traffic. He puts it up. It's going to come up short, that one. And the rebound grabbed by Powers. Then he's grabbed as he grabbed the ball.
You know, it's just an example when you try to go one-on-one and do it yourself. It just doesn't have the flow. And, I don't put that all on Braden. The four guys on the perimeter were just standing. And those are just difficult. You watch it at any level, even at the college level. You've got to move and create rhythm to get those shots to go down.
And on a play like that, the other night doing a radio game with former NBA Snohomish player John Brockman, and he said, that's a good foul.
Yeah.
It's not putting in bonus. Nobody's going to shoot. You're really not close to the bonus yet, and you're preventing a lay-in.
Well, if anybody would know a good foul, it's him, and I think he did that plenty of times, and he's right.
But in hockey, that's called a penalty shot because you impeded the guys. So 23-20, pull-up jumper, good. They are shooting tonight. Jae Ohonme with the bucket, back to a 5-point lead.
And another just smooth-looking shot.
Yeah, you get the feeling Kamiak's better than their 6-4 record indicates.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm thinking this is not a 500 team.
Outside three, down it goes, Bobby Siebers.
These guys have hit more threes in the first half than I did in 3 years at Snohomish.
Well, because if you had shot that many times from way out there, Coach Adams would have said, Jeff, have a seat right here.
He did that a lot.
Here's an underhand lay-in that won't go because it's going to be knocked away, but back out to Powers. He goes in, bounces it down to Sane. Nobody's on him. Sane says, I'll turn and shoot, and it won't go. Quantrill.
There you go.
Grabbed the rebound, and then he got fouled.
By the way, that was in all due respect. If Coach Adams is listening, he made the right call. I should have been sitting next to him.
Well, and we've talked since the outset, that's kind of been the theme, how the game has changed.
Correct.
You wouldn't think of taking a shot from way out there. What are you doing? Working around to the big guy.
I need to talk to my mom. I was born too early.
I could have been really good.
That's right.
Outside three won't go. That one for Bobby Siebers. And the rebound controlled by Kamiak. We've got ourselves a ball game here. 25-23, 2:20 to play. Opening half of action. Sane back out. Long outside three will not go. Ohonme with the miss. Quantrill with the board. Molina with the ball. That's Corwin. Elevates, fires three. A little too flat. That won't go. And the rebound's going to be controlled by Kamiak. Brendan Byer. He splits the defense, puts it up, won't go.
Good rebound. Better defense.
Yeah. Good rebound, better defense by Molina as they get the ball. Glacier Peak with it. Down by 2. A chance to tie. Chance for the lead with a 3-ball. That's Lee. No, they say he got fouled on the floor before the shot. They're going to put it out of bounds at the baseline. It's a second personal foul. Wabaluku with the foul, his second. Just a 5th team foul. We're going to go without having bonus shots, I think, here in this first half. With a minute 38 to go in the half.
Good shot.
It's a good shot, and down it goes for Brendan Siebers. Siebers with it, and it's Glacier Peak's first lead of the ball game. 26-25. Minute 22 to go. And now Kamiak. Wabaluku put up gets his own rebound, surrounded by Glacier Peak players. Powers in the corner. He goes to the baseline, double team there.
Really nice pass.
That's a beautiful pass to Byer. It's back up and it's in, and back to a Kamiak lead. 27-26. We're
Nice
57.
move by Byer. So many players stand and watch the shot go up, and that shot went up, or his teammates penetrating. He crashes the lane and rewarded with a shot. That was a nice play.
Talking about Jim Adams, how many times did you hear him say, follow your shot? Follow your shot. Follow your shot.
Every time the shot went up.
That's right. Here comes
Bobby.
Byer.
That's a great job.
He's going to take the offensive charge. Yes, he will.
I was told earlier today the school record for charges by a single player was 16, and Bobby told Brian Hunter he was going to break it. He broke it Monday night. That's his 18th now of the season.
Taking the charge?
Taking the charge.
And there's a little bit of being unafraid to take the contact, a little bit of just underhanded sneakiness, too.
Yeah, there's an art to it. You've got to have guts, but you got to be smart, too. And he anticipates so well, and then he's just not afraid to take it.
Yeah, you just got to kind of come just out of
right.
the guy's peripheral vision to be there in time, though.
And they hurt. You got. It's not as easy as it looks. It's not like they don't hurt. He does a really nice job of it.
That's Quantrill with it, 16 to shoot, 16 in the first half. Quantrill still with it. Goes around a screen, runs over a player. Shot on the way, three, it's good. Siebers with the bucket, long. That was online, but it did not go.
Did I mention that he was a sophomore?
We have reached halftime here at Glacier Peak High School. 29-27, the lead for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies over the Kamiak Knights. We'll come back second half. We'll take a look at the first half numbers as well right here on STSPN.com.
It's like a loot machine. Going around town, trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
Stewart Center is located in beautiful Snohomish, Washington. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, they are proud to provide the Snohomish Valley with exceptional hardware, tools, lawn and garden, and sporting goods products. Their commitment to delivering legendary customer service and their outstanding employees continue to make McDaniel's the best and one of the most recognized do-it-best centers in the nation. Stop by and experience for yourself the difference between McDaniel's and the big box stores. Discover why so many people are choosing to shop at McDaniel's.
Since 2003, Gamut 360 Holdings has been recognized as a premier local builder of new homes and commercial properties in the Puget Sound area. Our 360-degree construction approach matches first-class materials with the highest construction standards to create truly unique and timeless communities for our Northwest neighborhoods. Visit Gamut360.com and discover the home that matters most to you.
We are all frustrated with the high cost of heating and cooling our homes. At GNS, we are completely changing the way you keep your home comfortable. Because we are Snohomish County's premier Lennox dealer, we can design a perfect system for you, one that will save you a lot of money on your utility bill. The Lennox Home Comfort System creates the ideal home environment. Enjoy innovation in every season with precise, quietly efficient Lennox heat pumps that keep your life simply perfect. Call GNS Heating, Cooling, and Electric today or visit us at gsheating.com.
Welcome back to Glacier Peak High School on this Friday night. The Glacier Peak Grizzlies come from behind, down by as much as 5 points, and they lead at 29-27 over the Kamiak Knights. Taking a look at the leading scorer for Kamiak, 15 points for Charlie Powers, and then 4 points for Bayer and Ohonme, 3 points for Ferrara, and Dijon Sain has 1 point. For the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, Siebers picked up 14 points, all in the second quarter, and then 5 for Caleb Lee. Braden Corwin has 5. 1 point for St. Jean, 2 points for Braden Quantrill, 2 for Molina. So that is the way the scoring looks here in the first half. Welcome back, Tom Lafferty along with Jeff Larson, principal here at Glacier Peak High School, former coach, head coach at Redmond High School. You're also on the Redmond team and Redmond coaching staff, and we joked back and forth by text this week that I just don't want an end of this game to be like the Kansas State game. And you said you've got a pretty good story from when you were at Redmond.
I saw, like many of us, the end of that game, and you know, while it might be newsworthy and people want to see the highlights, it makes my heart hurt. And I understand the emotion of sports and the heat of the moment, but the ripple effect and the ramifications of that, they go so deep. And unfortunately, back in 2009, and people still ask me about it, we had an unfortunate situation. 2 really good high school teams playing on a Friday night in the fourth quarter. We had one student come out of the student body from Redmond and come onto the court and actually swing and punch one of the opposing players, and you know, both benches emptied, and there were injuries, and it just put a black mark on both programs, on the season, on the communities. And it's unfortunate because they were really, really good teams that had great respect for each other, great respect for Ed Haskins, the coach there. And it was never about the teams. It was one student that in the heat of the moment made a bad choice. But kids and programs and schools and communities pay for that for a long, long time. And it's so hard, and I understand the emotion, but you just can't let that happen.
And but sometimes it does, and it's an emotional game.
It's a very emotional game, and you know, you look at everything as a learning opportunity or teaching opportunity,
right.
and we took that experience at Redmond and we kept referring back to it, and you know, how do we get better, and how do we treat people, and you take whatever situation you're given, you make the most of it, and you have to learn from it and do your best to move on.
So we're getting set to move on here in this ball game, as it's a 2-point game. And I've been impressed the way Mariners come out, or excuse me, Kamiak. I keep referring back to Mariners. Same school district. The way Kamiak's come out, and they fought tonight.
Absolutely, you know, and it's why I just love high school basketball. You know, and you can predict the score or what's going to happen in a game, but not in high school. At any given night, kids, they're 17-year-olds playing against 17-year-olds, and that's the beauty of it.
So here we go, Kamiak and Glacier Peak. The Grizzlies will start the second half with the basketball. They're the home team in the white, and they've got Braden Quantrill, who splits the defense and puts it up and in. He's got 4 points in the ball game, but it's a 4-point lead for Glacier Peak. That's their biggest lead of the game. Now Kamiak will work it. That's Sain. Give it off to Ohonme. Jae Ohonme. Now to Brendan Bayer. 13 to shoot. Sain again. Down to 8 to shoot, and here's a steal. Corwin gets the steal, goes in, laying up, and good. Anticipation.
Yeah, noticeable difference in the effort on the defense from Glacier Peak. And as good as they've been on offense this year, I've been most impressed with the way they're playing defense, and you're starting to see it now in the start of the second half.
Sain with it, backs up for the 3, but it puts up an air ball, and Quantrill grabs it. as they bring it down, going in off the window and in. That's just a nice move by Bates.
Yeah, and good defense leads to good offense.
And a timeout called here on the floor by the Kamiak Knights and their head coach Brandon Corsi, because it's gone from, well, they were up by as much as 5. They're now down here in this ball game by 8 points. And we'll take a 30-second break and come back with more from Kamiak after this. And welcome back. We understand Megan Smart is watching tonight. Just had shoulder surgery. Or soldier surgery, as Todd Elvig just said.
Hope you're doing well, Megan. Get well, and tell your family hi for me, please.
There you go. 35-27. Her Glacier Peak Grizzlies have taken the lead here. See if Kamiak has an answer. Going in. Delay and no good by Byer. And a foul is going to be called.
That's 3 possessions in a row where Glacier Peak's been very disciplined, anticipating well, and they're making it really hard for Kamiak to get a good shot right now.
So here comes Glacier Peak leading it by a 35-27 8-point count. That's Molina, Braden Corwin. Right side again, Darlington. Quantrill, everybody's touching the basketball. Who didn't get it? He did. Okay, got it back. Now Quantrill backs up, back out. Corwin was open, but quickly out there was the defender. 10 to shoot, and Quantrill will, and then the rebound back up by Darlington and in.
You know, you mentioned John Brockman earlier, and when I get so excited when I see plays like that, when players go after the rebound, say that's my ball, and go right back up with it, it just ignites a team.
Still the career leader in Pac-12 in rebounds.
Going to be tough to beat that record.
And he said, he worked with me a year ago on a game too, and he said, John, get ball.
That's right.
That was it.
Keep it simple.
Get out of the way, John, get ball. And his teammates knew, get out of the way, he's going to go get the ball.
I wouldn't get in his way.
No. So it's a 10-point lead, biggest lead of the game for either team. Glacier Peak has gone from 5 down to 10 up, and an offensive foul. Offensive foul on the other end. Brendan Byer is going to be called for it, and it'll go right back to Glacier Peak.
That's a tough call. Kamiak coach disagrees with that, and you lower that shoulder, I can see where they call it, but it is tough.
So the foul again on Byer. That's the 3rd team foul here in this half. And Glacier Peak says, thank you very much. We'll take advantage of it, and here we go. Tucker Molina will bring it out of backcourt. To Corwin, to Quantrill. He'll face. Left-hand side, 3 on the way. That's a miss, no good by Bates. And a foul is going to be called.
I like what Glacier Peak's doing here. Even though Kamiak's in a man, they're in a 2-1-2 set with Braden in the middle, and you get him the ball, you trust him to make good decisions, so I think it's a really good move.
Fouls on Powers, his first personal, 4th team, none on Glacier Peak so far. And Powers had a good first half, but he's kind of been absent so far first few minutes of this 3rd quarter. Molina with it. Going in against Powers. Ball knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Kamiak. 22 to shoot. 5:02 to go here in the 3rd quarter, even though it says 2nd on the clock. It says 3 on ours, though. Here's a shot on the way. No. Darlington one more time. Yes.
Good effort.
A little stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got the offensive board, put it back up and in. It opens up a lead of a dozen now for Glacier Peak.
Big possession for Glacier Peak, or rather Kamiak.
Yeah.
But Glacier Peak relaxes. Kamiak can hit it quick just like that.
Oh,
tough shot.
tough shot. Powers, it went deep in the well and came right back out. Nice pass down right back to Molina, and he'll go to the free throw line. So Kamiak and Glacier Peak will be two of the 5 remaining schools in the Western Conference that will remain at the 4A level. How do you think all that worked out here the last couple of weeks?
You know, I'm still trying to figure it out, talking to our athletic director, Kevin Judkins, who's just fantastic, by the way. I know the ADs are working hard to try to figure it out, and I think it's going to be a little different with football and the other sports. And when you have not a lot of teams, it makes for some problems when it's traveling and non-league games. So I don't know how it's going to shake out for sure, but it's going to look different.
Well, I know that they wanted to hurry and get football done because they got to start scheduling,
You bet.
right?
That's right.
You don't want to end up with, oh, by the way, we have 2 holes in our schedule.
And that's really hard to fill, especially in football.
It's Quantrill. They're going to call a foul here. But everybody all statewide has been in the same boat. We're going to have a timeout called here by the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. We'll keep it right here. We'll talk about this. Statewide, it all happened too, because when they set those hard numbers. But let's talk a little bit about the first time now this year they've gone to the free and reduced lunch.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, how does that affect other schools more than other schools?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's good intent because numbers, while the numbers are the numbers, there can be so much disparity in those numbers. So free and reduced numbers, for example, while you may have a lot of numbers, you may not have a lot of students that are participating in clubs and activities. And so I like the idea of it. It's trying to bring some equity to the programs. So while I'm still learning it, I think it's with real good intent.
And I know, well, one of your teammates, the principal at Mariner, they have a pretty high count of free, but it still didn't push them down underneath the 4A level. They're a big school.
Yeah, it's Nate who does a great job over at Mariner, and it is a big school. I think they're about 2,300 kids.
Foul's called. Corwin's going to get called for this one. And that at Mariner is really a diverse population and a lot of turnover year after year. It's right there, 128th, right by I-5. You're going to get that.
You are going to get that, and it's one of the, I think there's positives to it, there's challenges to it, and again, this free and reduced count is meant to really help schools where it does fluctuate, and there's a lot of in and out.
That's Charlie Powers at the free throw line. 39-30. If Kamiak has a run in them, they'll get a couple here from the line, and it'll be an 8-point lead. And that was a little full court pressure, Coach.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. You don't want this to slip away. I think Glacier Peak does a nice job handling it, but I like the move by Brandon over at Kamiak.
And Quantrill will get the lay-in, and it's good. The lead is back to 10 with 3:25 to go here in the third quarter. Tijan Sane to Wabaluku. He looks. Glacier Peak's just more crisp on defense.
They are, and they're tough because they switch so many screens, and it's just very tough to get open and get that good look.
Ball went out of bounds. Actually touched the underside of the backboard, so they'll call that out of bounds, and it'll be Glacier Peak basketball.
That was a really nice look by Corwin to get that ball up the floor.
And Pierce Darlington is the recipient of the pass. A little early offense. It's out to a 12-point lead again. Glacier Peak equaling their biggest lead of the ball game. That's Sane. To Powers, looked at the three, didn't take it, goes in, the scoop lay-in up, no good. Brendan Byer with the miss. And Glacier Peak with the rebound, and Quantrill off the glass.
He's just so good at that. It's we were talking about earlier, his control and poise and strength, and when he gets the ball down low, it's almost automatic.
And since the theme of the night's kind of been how the game has changed, another thing that's changed now is RPI. You no longer just you play your league and you go to the tournament, and when you get done you go to the state. Now the RPI you got to worry about RPI from the 1st of December.
You do, and to be honest with you, I'm not so sure it's a good thing. Again, I understand the intent, and when you get to the state tournament, you don't want necessarily your top 2 teams playing in the first round, but It's also created challenges in non-league scheduling, and you have the good teams wanting to play each other, and so maybe those teams on the lower end, it's tough for them to get good games because it's hurting the RPI of the teams that are winning, just to be real honest about it. So while, again, I understand the intent, I guess I'm more of a traditionalist. I like playing where you are and win your league and play from there.
Well, I'm going to kind of go the other way a little bit. Like you said, you don't want then to have, and I'll use your team, you don't want Glacier Peak and Redmond to play in the first round of the state tournament.
Sure.
So there has to be a way of seeding them in there. And you can either have a committee.
Yep.
Okay, us 6 guys, let's start deciding.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Right.
And so you have something that your whole schedule means something. And if
and that's true.
If you're a lousy team and you get good, you still get to go to the tournament. You may have to play one extra game, really.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And there is incentive. You play those good teams and you lose, it doesn't completely hurt you either.
Right. And your league games are your league games.
That's right. You still got to win those league games.
Right. It's really the non-league games that changes.
Correct.
And on your girls' side, you play the Unions and the Prairies, the
right.
defending champion kind of teams, just to pick up your RPI. If you're one of the teams that's going to be 2-12, and there are some in the Western Conference, you don't need to play RPI teams. You don't need to build your RPI. It's not going to. It's not going to help.
That's exactly right.
Darlington with the bucket. Another timeout called here by Kamiak as it's become a little bit out of hand here. It's a 16-point lead for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, and we will return live to Glacier Peak right after this timeout.
Since 2003, Gamut 360 Holdings has been recognized as a premier local builder of new homes and commercial properties in the Puget Sound area. Our 360-degree construction approach matches first-class materials with the highest construction standards to create truly unique and timeless communities for our Northwest neighborhoods. Visit Gamut360.com and discover the home that matters most to you.
The junior Larson Patrol is getting food brought to them. Coach, what's up with that?
I don't know, but they're smarter than their dad because they got food up here and I don't. So we're going to be talking after the game.
You'll drink water and
I'll drink water.
That's it. So here we go. 16-point lead for Glacier Peak. They were down by 5. They lead it by 16 now, the biggest lead of the ball game for the Grizzlies. As Kamiak in the black uniforms. Powers will try a 3 from way outside. Had a defender right in his face. It didn't go. Quantrill to Darlington. Back to Molina again. And they can afford to just kind of use some time.
Yeah, good motion, good patience. That's a really good look.
Well, and, let's talk a little bit. We talked about the fact Mariner was up big on Glacier Peak. Lost. Last night the Huskies were up. Lost. What's the difference as a coach of the playing to win and playing not to lose? And where is that line?
For me in basketball, I'm going to answer it with guards. And when I watch Braden Quantrill and Braden Corwin, it reminds me of a couple pretty good guards I had at Redmond, Marcus Flynn and Galen Squires. And when you have that point guard that has the ball in your hand, Chris Harrington from Redmond, you just breathe easier. Good things happen. And as nice as it is to have that 6'8", 6'10" player in high school, you need to have that guard that can control the game.
But so that's fine. But how about the entire team? If you're leading, does it work to go? Okay, we lead by 20 at halftime. We're running lines tomorrow if we don't win by 40. Because you just let up on the gas. I don't care who you are. You let up on the gas. If you're playing out in the backyard with the kids, you're letting up on the gas.
Yeah, it's human nature. And For me, the most important thing was to get kids to play hard and get them to play harder than you think you can. And as soon as you let up and start doing something that you shouldn't do, bad things happen. And you can't have fear. You've got to have that. I guess all of us have been thinking about the Kobe Bryant incident,
Sure.
but that Mamba mentality
Right.
is real, and I respect that. And how do you get that out of people?
Well, and I was going to say, and it's not just at Glacier Peak High School or Mariner High School or Snohomish High School. It's at the University of Texas, and it's at Tennessee, and it's women and men, and it doesn't matter.
That's right.
And the NBA, and you kind of sit back, you take your foot off the gas.
You do. It's just human nature, and I understand it. But as a coach, it just drives you crazy.
You earned every one of those gray hairs. Charlie Powers at the line now for the Kamiak Knights. First one will go. And he will get another.
And it's an interesting dilemma because you do want to keep the foot on the gas, but you want to also be conscious of sportsmanship, and you're not trying to show people up. And there comes a point where there is a balance there.
Well, how many NBA games have we watched where a team is leading by 30 points, and then in the third quarter, suddenly they're only down by 3?
Yeah. And how do you explain that with pros? That boggles my mind.
Right. 17-year-old kids, you understand.
You bet.
30-year-old men, not so much. There we are at the end of the third quarter. Our score 50-35. Glacier Peak by 15. The fourth quarter coming up right here on STSPN.com.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
Since 2003, Gamut 360 Holdings has been recognized as a premier local builder of new homes and commercial properties in the Puget Sound area. Our 360-degree construction approach matches first-class materials with the highest construction standards to create truly unique.
Welcome back. 50-35. Tom Lafferty along with Jeff Larson, and Coach, 21-8 will do it every time in a quarter.
Offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships. And since that first quarter, Glacier Peak has really tightened it up.
Yeah, they've given up 13, 14, and 8 points. See what happens here in the fourth quarter. Charlie Powers has gone cold as well. He was the leading scorer in the first half. Been pretty cold. And Glacier Peak will have it here as they work it. Tucker Molina to Quantrill, Braden Quantrill. Back to Molina, the old give it to him, I'll go down here and you throw it to me and I'll get fouled and we'll have an and one.
Yeah, really.
Just the way you draw it up.
Just
right?
the way you draw it up. But one great pass, but then as impressive. Instead of just panicking and turning and throwing up there, Tucker was able to gather his feet, giving up fake and an and one. Just what you hope kids do.
So Tucker Molina will be at the free throw line. The foul was on Wabaluku, his third. We have a sub coming in. Bobby Siebers checks in. Takes the place of Tristan Bates. And Brian Hunter goes pretty deep on the bench. I mean, he's got a pretty good rotation.
He's known for only playing 5 or 6 a game, and to see him play 8 is a credit to this team because he doesn't play kids unless they make a difference, and there's a lot of kids on this team that contribute.
It was a miss by Byer and a rare turnover by Glacier Peak.
Yeah, and I am looking forward to giving Quantrill a little bit of grief for that because that doesn't happen very often, so I'm going to take advantage of that.
You had to wait till 7:09 to go.
That's right.
It's 8:30 at night. Finally, there's something I can yell at him about. Well, you must regale the kids with your stories of your exploits on the court. Is that right?
You know, they know and they're aware, and it really helps create a bond. You know, I know what they're going through, and I think they know that, and there's respect, and just really appreciate getting to experience it with them.
Down on the floor goes Byer. That's Darlington, goes back up. He gets fouled on the way in. Now, do you break out the snapshots, you and Coach Hunter, from when you guys were wearing the short shorts back in the 80s?
No, you know, it's kind of like fishing. You know, I hear those stories where the fish you caught's about 6 inches, but the stories you tell.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to see how bad we really were. We just make them think we were pretty good. But the shorts were pretty short.
Yeah. Well, we had done a show back with the Jim Adams coaching tree, and all you guys that were teammates are right close together, and you and Coach Hunter here, Nate Duchesne, the principal at Mariner, Ken Roberts, the very successful girls basketball coach, and then it's Mark Harkins. He's the only one with a state championship.
Yeah, what else do you want to talk about? No, Mark deserves that. He's done such a great job in Montana, and you know they just don't happen very often. I mean, good for him. We were so happy for him.
Well, and that's what we talk with coaches and we talk with players, and the first thing you do, right, when you start practice in the 1st of November is we need to play 21 games.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Anything after that is gravy.
Yeah,
and only one team on the first weekend in March gets to raise the big trophy with the big basketball on the top.
Well, and that's right. And, you know, Glacier Peak, we've been really, really spoiled, to be honest with you. There's, you know, how many schools, most schools rarely, if ever, get to experience going down to Tacoma. And fortunately, our boys and girls programs have kind of made that an expectation. And we try to remind the student body and the players and the community that this is special. This doesn't just happen all the time for most schools.
Unless you're Linden.
There's a few. There's a few.
Tucker Molina with the bucket. It's 56-37, 19-point lead. Well, it's the University of Linden Christian is what John Rasmussen, the girls basketball coach at Edmonds Woodway, calls them, because they play him every year. And he just says the University of Linden Christian.
Wow.
There's Molina with a pass to that's a nice move. But he gets his own rebound. Bobby Siebers back to Quantrill. One more time. Third time's a charm for Pierce Darlington. 3 shots at it, and that makes it a 21-point lead. Well, I thought Kamiak was kind of, okay, this is going to keep it close, but Glacier Peak's just, They didn't take their foot off the gas. They put their foot down to the floor.
Yeah, they did. And I still think Kamiak is a good team, and I think they're well coached. And Glacier Peak's, you can see why they're about 16-0, and you can see why.
So a timeout called by Kamiak. The lead is 18 points, 58-40. We'll keep it right here. So coming into the ball game tonight, Glacier Peak and Mariner. Glacier Peak's number 1 in the Wesco 4A at 10-0. Mariner now number 2 with the loss the other night to Glacier Peak. It's those 1 and 2 spots you really want to be in, and they're pretty much locked in, those two teams.
Yeah.
Because then you have Kamiak, Jackson. Both those teams are at 6 and 4. You really want those because then you get to at least host that opening round and not have to worry about.
That's right.
You don't get an automatic berth into the double elimination. And then you've got Mount Vernon and Lake Stevens. But Lake Stevens is still battling for Monroe for that number 6 spot.
Yeah. You know, and then the challenge it's for Glacier Peak and Mariner is going to be to not take anybody for granted. And because once you get to the postseason, throw out the records. It just doesn't matter because any given night, your season can change in a hurry.
Well, and you're going to the district tournament with 3 berths on the – is it 4? No, 4 berths on the line in the 4A out of the 12 teams that have come from
That's
the Kinko. Right. Oh, by the way, Kinko's pretty good.
Yeah, especially Mount Si. I'm hearing a lot about them, and Kinko Conference is good basketball. So I'm actually I love February and then the start of March, and I still get goosebumps when I think about that time of the year.
Here's Molina with a runner that's up and in, and that makes it a 20-point ball game. It is the best time of year, isn't it? Besides the high school, then you got, as soon as the state tournament's over, we're into the NC2A tournament.
Oh boy, you gotta love March, don't you? But there is something special. You know, high school sports is just special, but there's something about a high school basketball state tournament, and that's not an old basketball coach just saying that. There's just something different about a high school basketball state tournament.
Well, because there's and the district too. When you're playing almost every night. Okay, we got to go here, got to go watch that. And then you as a coach, if you were still coaching, then the nights you're not playing, you're out watching another ball game because you're scouting ahead.
You know, and you're loving every minute of it, to be honest with you. And you realize you appreciate it because you know that you're not guaranteed to get that next game. And so every chance you can get that 22nd, 23rd, 24th game, you just put everything you have into it because they're not automatic.
And I was told there's a foul on a 3-ball. As going out there and committing the foul is Bobby Siebers, and that's going to send Brendan Byer to the free throw line. Talking with Daryl Olson, he worked a game with me a couple of weeks ago, former Everett coach. He's Everett golf coach now, but still follows basketball. And we were talking about the way Huddle has changed things. He goes, yeah, but there's nothing like going and seeing a team with your own eyes.
I totally agree. You know, you can watch on tape, but it's like anything else. People don't look quite as big, quite as fast, quite as strong, and you just get a different feel when you can see it live.
Well, and he says that, and you can sit in the crowd, and maybe it's not what's going on the floor, but how does the kid react on the bench if he got pulled out with 2 fouls or whatever?
That's a good point, and you can't pick that up on TV, and you can't pick up the environment and the feel and the chemistry. So I watched a lot of film, but I love to go just watch games.
And are you a note taker, or are you a picture in your mind, or they run this, or are you writing down sets? Well, how are you scouting?
Tendencies. You know, I try to identify 3 things that I knew that they would do or that they would try to do, and I tried to identify 3 things that I thought we might be able to take advantage of. We were talking earlier about other coaches. You know, Mike Lowry, longtime coach from Marysville, taught me that, to just keep things very, very simple. I never went into a halftime with more than, at the most, three things to talk about. That was the most.
Talk about what Coach Lowry said one night. You said you didn't have any chalk. Tell that story.
Well, that's a great story. I was a young assistant coach at Redmond High School, and we went up to Marysville to play, and the head coach, Craig Dexter, at that time had forgot to bring chalk. So that tells you how old I am. We wrote on chalkboards, and of course I'm the young guy on staff, so he told me to go find some chalk. And I said, where? He says, I don't care, go find some chalk. And fortunately, I was familiar with Coach Lowry, so I knocked on their locker room door, and I told him, and boy, he started laughing. He kind of grabbed me by the arm. He says, come on, let's go do this. We go into the Redmond locker room, and he stands right in front of Coach Dexter, in front of the Redmond players. And he talked about how, you know, as coaches, we were going to tell you to do this, this, and this, and we're going to write all this on the board. And the fact is, it really doesn't matter because you guys are going to go do what you want to do anyway. And he dropped some chalk and walked out the door.
What'd Coach Dexter do? Well, yeah, he's probably right.
I don't know that he wrote anything on the board. He said, he's right. Let's go play.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, too, about you have to make it fun. It has to be fun. If it's not fun, then go do something else.
It does have to be fun. And fun also is working hard. And if you can get kids to find the appreciation that when you play hard and work hard, that is fun. But it's also high school. And if you don't make it fun, it's going to hurt your program. The student body they're not going to enjoy it. So while, of course, you compete, you play hard, you play to win, but they're still kids, and you can have fun and play hard at the same time.
Oh, sure. I think that's exactly what Glacier Peak's doing now as they lead it by 22 points, 65-43. 27-point turnaround in this ball game. Right-hand corner 3-ball. That would have really hurt Kamiak. That was Caleb Lee with the miss. Kamiak will get it. There's a 3 up, and it is good. Tejan Sane with the bucket.
I like these Kamiak players, and it's not going to surprise me to see them win some games in the district tournament. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Molina. Now along the baseline, Lee up and good. Caleb Lee, nice looking move there. 21-point lead. Coming up on a minute and a half to play in the game. Coach, it's time to start talking about our player of the game. Who do we like?
Boy, that's been the kind of the story of Glacier Peak all year. They're so well-rounded. Bobby had such a good second quarter, and Darlington's picked it up.
Grizzlies number 12.
I think Quantrell's done well. I look up and down the list. I like the way Caleb Lee plays, but when it comes down to it, I think my vote would go to Pierce Darlington.
That works for me. Have we given Pierce Darlington a shirt yet? I don't think so. We like to spread it around that way too, whether or not we've. Okay, so we'll go with Pierce Darlington. The 6'6" post, senior. It's 21, number 21 out there.
And just to add to it, he is one of the neatest kids. When I see him in class in the hallway, he's always got a smile on his face. He says hi. He's so well-liked. He's just a super, super kid.
Okay, we've already chosen him. You don't have to keep lobbying for your choice. You're not saying teacher's pet, right?
I guess what you're seeing is I'm not sure how many people have the goal of wanting to be a high school principal, but if you ever do, this is a school you want to do it at, because this student body and this staff, this is just it's a special, special place.
67-46, 21-point lead with 59.9 to go. Now, what do we got here? We had a foul called on Glacier Peak. And that was whistled there on Tyson Willis. And Wesley Garrett going to the free throw line. Free throw no good. And now pretty much all the second stringers are in there. Although for Glacier Peak, that's a lot of guys that played a lot of minutes already in this ball game.
Yeah.
Outside shot by Sane won't go. Down to 40 seconds to go. A little bit of playing time here. Caleb Lee. Little step through move. Back over to Lee again. Corner, three on the way. Won't go. Missed by Tori Watkins. And it will be Kamiak basketball. The shot clock is dead.
Tom, you mentioned in your scouting, you watched the bench, and when Tori shot that, and he's a JV, the player that's going to be a good player in the future. But I watched the bench, the varsity bench of Glacier Peak, and every one of them stood up and were rooting for that to go in, and that's what you like to see.
And that will be that. They will count the bucket at the end. And it will be final score of Glacier Peak 67 and Kamiak 48. We'll come back. We'll talk with our player of the game here. Thanks for being with us tonight on STSPN.com.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow-through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
It's like a loot machine. Going around town, trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
So we've got the live studio audience here, and Pierce Darlington is our player of the game here tonight. Final score of 67-48. The Glacier Peak Grizzlies over the Kamiak Knights. Did you have fun out there?
Oh, I had a lot of fun. Second half felt good. Get out there, get some rebounds, and get some putbacks.
Kamiak came to play tonight.
Yeah, for sure. We knew they put up a fight against Mariner, and they're going to put up a fight against us too, for sure.
Pierce, I was proud of you when these guys around you, and they're happy for you shooting that 3 ball. What was really fun is watching you crouch the boards. You had a couple and ones, taking your time, getting your feet under you. I loved the way you played tonight. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Talk about the other night. Let's talk about the Mariner game. You guys were down big.
Yeah.
And then came all the way back and won the ball game. Talk about the mentality of the team that night.
For sure. Going into halftime, we knew what we had to do. We had to come out and perform, I guess. We forced some turnovers, and one thing led to another, and we won the game.
And then talk about tonight. Talk about some of the other guys who was doing a good job. Did you think from your vantage point tonight?
Q for sure. Every single time he brings a certain thing, you know, and he just works hard. Tuck was making great passes. Bobby in the first half, amazing shots, and felt good when he found me on that one dump in. And yeah, I mean, the whole team played great.
Coach and I were talking during the game. Quantrill is a guy you don't want to get in his way, right?
Oh, yeah,
if he's going after the ball, step aside.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Practice, I let him. I'm not trying to get any of that.
Good decision.
Yeah.
Good decision and good job tonight.
Thank you very much.
Good luck down the road.
Thank you.
There you go.
Good job, Pierce.
13 points. Is that your career high?
13?
Yeah.
I think it might be. I think it's tied. I think I had 13 or I had 12. I think it's my career high.
There you go.
There it is.
Got a PR tonight.
Right.
We'll get a picture with the shirt, and we'll tell you about the leading scores for the Kamiak Knights. 21 points for Powers tonight, and 12 points for Brendan Byer. And then for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, 16 points for Bobby Siebers, 12 points for Tucker Molina, 13 points for our player of the game, Pierce Darlington. Coach, final thoughts on this Glacier Peak team. And let's talk about the Glacier Peak girls team as well. They're playing very well as well.
They're playing really well. I watched them play this week as well, and both the boys and the girls, I think what I appreciate most, one, they play really hard, but they play unselfish. I love how they share the ball. Priority for both programs is defense. They take pride in it. It's easy to root for them. It's just, I feel very, very fortunate to get to experience it and just be part of this with them.
Well, thanks for being with us. We'll do this again.
Tom, you know I love it. You're a pro. You're the best. You're the best around. So it's always. I'm honored to get to do it with you. Thanks for letting my boys hang out with us.
Sure.
And, look forward to doing it again. Thank you very much for all you do.
They did a good job on the stats too. We had to put them to work tonight.
Now I told them if they did a good job, we'd go get some ice cream. So now I got to pay up.
Does that go for everybody? Does that go for the whole crew? Okay. So for Jeff Larson, for Darren DeVito, for Jackson and Jaden Larson, for Todd Elvig and Sarah Elvig, for STSPN, I'm Tom Lafford again. The final score from Glacier Peak High School. The Glacier Peak Grizzlies 67, the Kamiak Knights 48. Good night, everybody.